So, My Hero Academia manga chapter 339 has been released, and let me just say that I hope y'all had a very great holiday, because when it comes to this chapter, it kind of reflects the mood of what we're in right now. It's very cheery, but still in a state of despair, and we'll see why that's the case right after this. So, hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my review of My Hero Academia, manga chapter 339, titled The Story of How We All Became Heroes, Part 2. And yeah, if this is the naming scheme that we're going to be following, especially from what we see at the end of this chapter, yeah, we're going to be following this naming scheme until the final chapters or until My Hero Academia comes to an end. And that's going to be fine because, yeah, that kind of sums up the entirety of what My Hero Academia is all about, that one title. So yeah, it makes sense. So yes, this is going to be my review, and like I said, hopefully y'all had a great holiday. And when it comes to this chapter, there's not that big or bombastic about the chapter, but there are some slight reveals that we get. We do have a strong focus on Mei Hatsume being back in the series, and we get to see a little bit more about how she's feeling during the war, or more precisely, what role she's going to be playing in the story moving forward, especially when it comes to her connection and her relationship between Deku and Ida, as well as just Hero Society in general. So, before we dive really into the review, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy My Hero Academia content, reviews, spoilers, discussions, all that cool stuff, subscribe if you want to see more of that from me. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So, we actually start off this chapter with a cover page of Mei Hatsume being very cheerful, being very smiley, being very adorable, being surrounded by like metal wings, her little babies of a sort. So she's looking very cool in this one page as we cut over to the main chapter where you just have Mei Hatsume being Mei Hatsume by saying, "Oh yeah, sorry about that, what do you need?" As you just have Deku just trying to recover from that big explosion, quote unquote, as he's like, "Oh man, I was taken off guard. I couldn't really do anything. My dude just didn't go off." As you just have Ida's like, "Dude, it was just boobs." By the way, Mei, what's going on? Can we get our stuff repaired here? As you just have Mei's like, "Wait, can't you just go to the item office?" As you just have Ida just like, "No, you can't, you know, since like everything outside going on, we can't really do that much." As you just have her and Ida just look at each other just with this, huh? As you have Deku jumping to conclusions like, "No, there's no way." She's been so preoccupied with what she's doing that she doesn't realize what's going on. And you just get this like shocked panel of Deku just coming to this quote unquote realization. So yeah, this is a very funny moment, but it actually comes back later on in this chapter and puts it into a different perspective when it comes to Deku as well as Hatsume's reaction to this scene, because this is just something that Hatsume would do. She's like, "Oh, the world is in danger outside? Oh, I didn't know that," because she's always distracted by her invention. So there's a slight twist with that, and we'll get to that twist sooner or later. But we are actually introduced once again to probably the best, the wonderful, the greatest teacher in the entirety of UA. We get to see the support division development studio manager, Power Loader. And I say the reasoning why he's the best teacher is because he's the one that can actually control Hatsume. So yeah, he comes back. We get to see him with his big dump truck face as he's pretty much saying like, "Oh yeah, no, sorry about Hatsume. It's fine. Come on in." As we get to see a bigger view of the studio, which relatively speaking is a lot bigger, even to the point where Ida comments about how everything has changed, where Power Loader explains that, yeah, it's probably because when the UA barrier became a thing, we were put in charge of it and we run it from the studio. So we do get confirmation of where the UA barrier at the very least is stored, or where it's like pretty much controlled from, and we get to see a character actually control the UA barrier and monitor it. So yeah, It is done through the studio, which makes sense. This is where all of the equipment is made, and it just makes sense that this is going to be the case. So now we're getting actually to the nitty-gritty of why Deku and Ida are here. Deku is talking to Hatsume, and Mei is like saying, oh, your mid-gauntlet, yeah. That compression technology, yeah. You need me to repair that? As Deku's like, yeah, it's a prototype, so it's not really in stock, so can you repair that? And she's like, are you in a hurry? And obviously Deku is in a hurry, and Mei Hatsume gives the response that we all know she's going to give. No can do! And she says this as she begins to walk off extremely quickly. She's like, yeah, we don't have the material that the gauntlet is made of, and even if we did, I would have to make it from scratch, so I can't do it right away. As Deku's like, wow, she's walking away very fast. As Ida's like, can you make me more equipment? And she's like, we don't have the specs. And she's walking away even faster. So yeah, she just straight up tells him that, yeah, no, she can't do it based off their requirements. And that's actually very important. Keep that in mind. She can't do it the way that they are asking, as we are actually introduced to some new students, or her classmates, in reference to Hatsume, as we get the reveal of both Bob and Sam and how they are willing to help Ida and Deku with their equipment, and that they are her classmates and that they will help. And as they're all thinking about this, you just have Deku's like looking at Mei and is thinking like, wow, she's really working fast. I wonder what kind of like person or what she's doing, because he thinks that there's no way that she would have rejected this like a year ago. So what's going on as he's looking at Mei, and we get to see that she is one of the students, or one of the people actually monitoring the UA barrier, as she's saying like everything is nice, as you just have Power Lord explain that, yeah, when the UA barrier was like being constructed and they needed help, yeah, they went to Hatsume. And when it comes to new things that are added to the barrier, yeah, that's all Hatsume, because he explains once again that Hatsume's strong points is her energy and her ideas, as you just have Deku come back to this moment where he first met her, because you just have her saying this very cool line where it's like, a brilliant idea can become outdated after even just a minute. With that in mind, I gotta grow my babies to be bigger and better. That's my motto. And it's a very cool motto, and you just have Deku just being awed and inspired by this, thinking that she was so enamored by her babies, by her inventions, that she didn't even know what was going on outside, where it's actually revealed that, yeah, she does know what's going on outside. She does understand that the heroes do need help, but that Deku may be a little bit more naive like polyester. So it is revealed that she does know what's going on outside. It's just that that's just her response to it, which makes sense. But she begins to explain that, yeah, when it comes to us support heroes, yeah, we really can't fight and we can't protect people in the same way as the heroes, but we're still the same in a way, because when it comes to our inventions, that's how the support classes become heroes. That's how we are heroes, by our inventions. So it brings to light this idea that when it comes to being a hero in this world, that there are actually more ways that you can become a hero, or that you are a hero. And it most likely will expand upon this idea about how everyone can be the greatest hero, because there isn't just one way to be a hero. Being a hero isn't just having a bombastic quirk or a very helpful quirk. No, it's about helping people. And when it comes to how the support classes help people, they help people through their inventions. How heroes help people is literally going out saving people and stopping villains. And to add on to that, a way that the civilians can be heroes is by supporting the heroes as they are willing to support them. So this just ties more into the importance of the support class students, and that how they are also becoming heroes, and tying into the bigger theme of what it means to make a hero, and how it just depends on the person and what they want to do. But at least at the very core, it has to be done to help people. And that's what we see in Hatsume, as we just see her eyes just filled and glowing with like this ambition and this sort of kind of heroism spirit, that I would like to call it. So yeah, it's very cool to see that we are actually touching upon the importance of the support class students. We're not going to get a whole lot about them, but at least we have Mei Hatsume, Sam, and Tom. And as we get this small little touching moment, Deku gets gloves thrown at his face, and Ida has equipment also thrown at his face, causing their faces to literally sink in on themselves. Ah, Mei Hatsume, never change. So yeah, as they were talking this entire time, Mei was pretty much building them new equipment from scratch. She couldn't specifically repair the gauntlets, but she created her own version of them using Deku's gloves, as well as she wasn't able to create Ida's armor, most likely his exact armor, but that she created new armor for him. And as she did this, you just have the two students that are like, we didn't even get to measure them, but it makes sense that she would already have their measurements because she's already done this before. So yeah, it's very cool to see how fast and how great and how better she has gotten at creating these equipment. So we're going to get new gauntlets for Deku, which makes sense. He needs them to reinforce his arms, and most likely he'll be able to more effectively use Air Force. And most likely with Ida, we're gonna get new equipment that may be very similar to his brother Ingenium, but it could be most likely extremely different, which would make him set himself apart from the Ingenium line and make Ingenium his own, most likely through this hero costume. So that's going to be cool to see. We don't get to see all of it in its full glory in this chapter, but we will eventually. And by eventually, I mean literally in the next page, because we do get to see it in the background. But what is more important is that as they are leaving, Mei Hatsume wants them to tell everyone this, that victory will be ours, because if her inventions are able to stop the villains with the help of the heroes, then in theory and in essence, she is also a hero. So it's a cool moment to end on as we actually cut over to Class 1A, which is weirdly enough being led by Mount Lady, which she begins to start this conversation as Deku and Ida are coming back, where you have Sarah obviously responding to the fact that their faces are weird. He hopes that, yeah, are you gonna be all right? Are they gonna be back to normal anytime soon? As Mount Lady's like, all right, yeah, no, I understand what's going on with you in Class 1A, but yeah, we cannot like wait a single day. Yeah, our goals right now is to find the Paranormal Liberation Front and the League of Villains and stop them in the shortest route. So yeah, we're not gonna hesitate, no confusion, let's get out of here. And it's very cool to see how Mount Lady is taking on a more leadership role and that she's actually over the students, and how the students are actually going to be doing something more than just being set at UA, showing that, yeah, they're about to gain a lot more responsibility. They're not just going to be on their butts patrolling the area. No, they're going to actively go out and search for people and stopping villains, because it seems as if now the heroes understand that, yeah, these kids are heroes and we need to treat them as such. And as you have students of Class 1A wondering what's going to go on with Aoyama and if he's going to even take their hand, you have Deku as his face returns back to normal. That I'm pretty sure that he will, and you just have everyone, even Bakugo, seeming very sympathetic for the situation, still being affected by it, as you have Bakugo's like, yo, as long as he doesn't get in my way, I'm fine, that's good enough for me. And he doesn't say with like the malice or expression that he normally has, showing that, yeah, he actually does care and want Aoyama to come back. But what is more impactful is what Shoto says, which is most likely a callback to how Deku was talking to him about how he's ready to forgive his father. Shoto says that I'm pretty sure Aoyama has a clear picture of what he wants to become, which is most likely a hero. So that could be a cool connection that you can make, especially since Shoto's the one saying it to Deku. So yeah, they're very confident that Aoyama will come back to his senses and be a hero and work alongside them. But until that moment comes, the UA department, first year Class A, search party musters up and are ready to go, as we see Deku going full cowling. So we actually cut over to the Kansai region, where we actually get to see Nejire, Sun Eater, Fat Gum, and Ryuku as they just finished stopping a villain, saving some civilians, and they're about to take them to Shiketsu High. And as this is all happening, you just have Nejire being Nejire, questioning Sun Eater about if anyone is injured, being very hyperactive as usual, as well as looking at the situation that's unfolding with someone wanting to see Sun Eater's face, because, you know, you would probably want to see the face of the person that saved you, but Sun Eater is a recluse and is so nervous that he doesn't want to do it. So that's a fun scene. But you have Ryuku asking Fat Gum about, like, yeah, the less people that we have, the less information that'll be out there, as you just have Fat Gum saying, yeah, but you know, when push comes to shove, yeah, it's going to be very different from what happened the past two times. This isn't going to be a raid. This is going to be an all-out war, and both sides are literally going to be coming at each other full force. So we better be prepared, as weirdly enough, we just get this one panel of this one building that we may know what it is, and I'll tell you immediately afterwards, but we get to cut to this building where we have All Might and Hawks talking about how their backup plan has been made and that the arrangements have been made and that they are ready for a decisive second war as the chapter ends. And most likely where they are at right now is Central Hospital. And why is that important? Because, you know, there are some very, very important characters that are at Central Hospital. You have Dr. Garaki. You have the heroes that may have been injured. I don't know. Eraserhead, Aizawa. Who else? Maybe Kurogiri? So, there's a lot you can theorize about this one last panel. Potentially the return of Aizawa, most likely, and potentially the reintroduction of Kurogiri or Shirakumo. There are many ways that you can go with this ending, but oh yeah. Overall, when it comes to this chapter, I thought this was a good chapter of My Hero Academia. For the most part, this chapter was just focusing on Mei Hatsume, as well as her interactions with Deku and Ida, and getting a better understanding of the importance of the support students and how they serve as heroes through their inventions, and that if their inventions are able to help people, then in essence, they are heroes, which ties into the bigger theme of the story of what it means to be a hero and how there are many ways for people to be a hero besides just fighting the villains, and people are beginning to understand that more. So we dived a little bit more into that, as well as we got to see new equipment from Deku as well as Ida, not in very deep detail, but we get to see that, yeah, they're going to have new equipment, very similar to their old equipment, so we're going to get to see how they are able to be used when the final war comes into play, which we are pretty much establishing that, yeah, this is going to be an actual war. It's not going to be a raid, it's not going to be like a battle, it's going to be a full-blown war with both sides coming at each other and clashing, and luckily enough, we do have a few plans in play. We don't know if the plan that Toshinori, All Might, and Hawks are most likely talking about is the same plan as Aizawa, but because they are at Central Hospital, it may be the same plan or a very similar plan. We just don't know. We're probably going to get that in the next chapter, but what we also got in this chapter is the reveal that Class 1A is actually going to be going out patrolling, and we're most likely going to see a little bit more of that next chapter, maybe not in full detail, but probably what's going to happen next chapter is that we're going to see Class 1A going out, stopping villains, being actual heroes, being seen as heroes by not only the pro heroes, but also by the civilians that are most likely going to save, as well as potentially see the plan that will be going on at Central Hospital and what that may entail. Probably going to get the return of Aizawa proper as a hero as we are setting up for the final war. I think the final war is going to be coming soon. If we do not see it by the end of January, I will actually be very surprised. So yeah, they are preparing for the final war. We're probably going to get more of it next chapter, and I just can't wait to see it, and hopefully you can't wait either. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed my review, and let me ask you, what do you think is going to be going on next chapter, and are you okay with how they treated Mei Hatsume in this fight? So yeah, let me ask you, what did you think of this chapter? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And what do you think of the focus being on Mei Hatsume in this chapter? Did you enjoy it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. Do all that cool jazz. And hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye.